Okay, do I have sound today? Can you let me know? Yay, thank you. Now I'm trying to get on my laptop here. We'll get going here in a second. There we go. Okay. Since I didn't have any voice on Saturday, I thought we'd kind of redo going over the double wedding ring. This is the wedding star I'm going to work on. We worked on the double wedding ring last week. I've got one full block put together. And I did a layout for the rest of this, so I can't wait to share that with you guys a little later on. It'll be a couple of weeks, I'm sure. And then I wanted to show you the second week, number 2, we did the hexes. And this was my scrappy one. It's got 82.5-inch hexes in it, 80 different fabrics. The inner border's another fabric, the border's a fabric, and I've got my stripe binding. I got that sewn on. Gonna take it home tonight and sit. I think I got a little teeny bit of like 3 inches of the binding sewn down. So I'll take that home tonight and get it done. And I think I measured it. It came out to 43.5 by 45.5. So it's a nice crib blanket or a lap quilt, perfect for a wheelchair kind of lap quilt. Anyway, that's what you get with 80 blocks. That's one package of 2.5-inch foundations, hexy foundations. So I'm just getting back to the wedding star quilt. I am just ready to stitch a half of a ring or arc or whatever you call it to the crescent or moon. I don't know. I don't remember. And these curved seams are just so simple. Don't be afraid of them. It's like sewing a straight seam. It straightens out as it approaches the needle. So, and the one thing I do that I don't know how else to teach it is keep your left hand fabric and just sort of work the fullness as you go so you don't get any puckers, and it kind of helps keep the seam line a little smoother. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Yes, all of our packages, whether it's a pattern or just blocks, come with the size to cut all the pieces. I'm using the I can't think of the word. Um, Ombre. Yeah, I knew I'd think of it. I'm using the ombre. So what I do is I cut a 2.5 inch strip by width of fabric. And then I cut at the selvage end, I cut a piece 2.5 inches. Then I cut 8 pieces 2 inches wide. And then the last one at the fold end, I cut at 2.5 inches. And that gives me the center, or the smaller arc has 8 pieces on it. And then, so the first piece that I cut at 2.5 would go, if it was dark, if the selvage end is a dark, like on this one, the 2.5 inch strip, the first one will go right here on the longer piece. And the last 2.5 inch one will go on the end. And it shows you that in the cutting chart. It shows you both ways, if you're using an ombre fabric or if you're using just regular yardage and, colors. It describes it all, tells you how to cut them. So there's the first side. And that's the star points. And this is going to be the other side. So the first thing you want to do is clip this inside seam. And there's always, there's the little clip marks. So it's the inside seams that you need to clip. Don't clip quite to the solid line. And where piece 10, this one is the longer arc, there's 10 pieces. I clip up really close to the seam line, right where piece number 10. Let's see, how far did I get here? Just want to, and I started working on we're going to be doing the jackets next week. And I started on a new one yesterday. Okay, so yep, I clipped that. Okay, so now right sides together. We want to match this line right here where we added piece 10. We want to match that right where the two fabrics come together to make the star. Put my pin in right there, if you can see that. And bring those edges up. Don't worry about matching the ends. We're going to just match our edges together there. And then I'm going to put a few pins, start working my way around. Just want to roll those seams together. Yeah, we're going to start, I have jacket patterns, but we're going to start with a sweatshirt, because you know what size sweatshirt you wear. So if you want to make one of these, you want to buy a sweatshirt one size larger, because we are going to be taking it apart and then re-sewing it, not totally apart. And I just bought, I prefer the raglan sleeves, and no hoodie on it for this one, for the first project we're going to do. And I will be putting out a complete pattern. The pattern won't be out until after we make the first one. And then I'll put put it out, and then we'll revisit it again after the pattern comes out. So then we're just going to match these edges. I do both ends. I match the seam line where we added piece 9 and 10. I match that with the seam underneath where we added this arc to the crescent. And then I know, this is gonna fit nicely. So you shouldn't have to stretch either side. They should fit. See, didn't have to stretch anything or to make it match. It just fits. I do pin though. Okay, now we're going to come back to the end. These are straight lines, and this is a straight line. So we're going to pivot off of where we put the pin in, and I clipped the seam or the seam allowance, and we're just going to match our ends. And now we're ready to sew. And I will get that started. Take my pin out, and we just pull it straight. And then settle down right there where my pin is. And then I'm going to lift my presser foot, and I'm going to move that extra fabric away, because now we're going to be stitching a curve seam. And I know it bothers some people that I stitch slowly, but I feel like I'm a lot more accurate that way. I have to do a lot less unstitching. So in the long run, it's really faster. So just keep moving that fullness. And I stop with where my pin is at this seam line, lift the presser foot, and now we're going to rotate the one underneath so my edges match, and just stitch straight on down that line. And you know me, clip those threads. Whoops, I moved my garbage can. Okay, now we're going to press it. Oh, that's grunge. I thought it was, I thought it piece of the foundation had come through. It's just the print on the grunge. And turn it over and give it a good pressing. Now I hear my steam. So now on this one, oops, it's gonna go like this here. So I'm gonna put a pin in it. There it is. Yeah, don't mind my design wall. My cat came in and had a fit one day and ripped all the fabric. So I have new fabric to put on, but I got to get everything off of it first. Okay, so now we have to do, there's a block that goes here. These blocks are set on point. So there's a block that will go here and a block that will go here. So we can add this. So these two together, then add this to it, and then add it to the mothership. Since it's done on a diagonal, I'll make the blocks that go down. We'll do this next so that we can have this whole line done. So we want to take our background piece. This is for parts D and E, and I have them set properly. Part D, you set it on the back side of your, I think it's a 6 by 9, 6.5 by 9, 6.5. And you are going to cut this big section away. I don't throw it away. I keep it because it's a big enough piece I can use in a, you saw last week, it will work in a lot of our projects. So, yes, the ombre fabrics give you that gradient, and you don't have to think about it. It just does it for you. It's perfect for these. Did I get the information on the quilted jacket? You mean the ones that I'm making? I do have, I think I do have, they're in Debbie's Designs. I'll talk to Laura about how we want to put them on the website, but they're all published and everything. I'll see what I can do about that. So I have them, I just haven't put them on the website. I got to add a little bit to them, but I can certainly get on it. The ones that are already done are like, you start with a sweatshirt, and it's just a seminal stitching for the, like the top part, the top upper part goes over the shoulders, down the front, down the back. I'm trying to think. I'll dig one of mine out and show it to you. That pattern is pretty much ready to go. And like I say, I think I have a couple of updates to add to it. And I started, like I say, I started working on a new one. So I'd have a couple of things to show you next week. Since I missed last Tuesday while I was teaching and had no voice on Saturday, I thought we would continue this week working on the double wedding ring, because Thursday I want to show you the starlit ring blocks, because that is a super easy way to introduce yourself to doing double wedding ring, and it goes pretty fast. You make a The next one, I'm going to make it as a baby quilt. So now here's my scissors. Before I trim that away, we'll trim it down. So I basted this on, or basted around space 1. Did the basting in the seam allowance. Now we're going to get ready to add piece number 2. So we're going to put our straight edge along the seam line and fold that back. And use our add a quarter ruler. Trim that off. And turn that over. And this is the one for the turquoise side of the star. This one, you gotta, when you set it, you've got to set the left side just barely past the broken line, because it's got to cover all the way down to here. So when you open it up, oops, did I get the wrong, I got the wrong piece. That's for the middle part. This is the ones I want. I want a turquoise. See, part E, piece number 2. It's always nice to have them labeled just in case. And I hadn't worked on this one for a little while. I got it started and then we had a trip come up. Okay, so we'll put those back in that bag. Now, now that's going to fit, no problem. I thought that was a little stingy. So when you open it up, you got plenty to cover all the way down there. And this one does come up that far, so we're good. Turn it over. And we're going to stitch on that line. And then we'll take it to the ironing board and give it a good press. And for those of you who are new, yes, I do use steam. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, so now we're going to, I like to use my straight edge on the 2 straight edges. A 1/4 inch from the solid line. I think I need to put a new blade on. And then I use my scissors to trim the, see, that's why I like to stitch this down to hold it. I should have done that before I cut, but Now we can cut it. Okay, and this big piece I save. Little one I'll throw away. Now come back and we're going to clip at those points. Now, in this particular one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is, I'll show you, this comes in the pattern. It's just a layout. So if you want to do your colors, I just did the circles in different colors to remind myself that you need to make 2 long, these, which one I gotta see. Anyway, they overlap, like this is a long one, this is a short one, this is a long one, and this is a short one. So you have 2 part A's and 2 part B's to each ring. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 36 of these. So that's a whole lot of rings to make. This is, we have the wedding star table runner out right now. And as I'm making this, the pattern is being written for this one. You're getting to watch me make my first one. So, and I believe I have 10 sets of ombre fabrics because we will be kitting this. There's 10 sets of ombre fabrics, and I think there's 5 sets or 5 pairs of colors for the stars. So far, I have the greens up in the corner, the pinks, this turquoise and light green, the golds, and lavenders for the stars in the center, and they're varied. Again, my only thing was to not have the same star opposite itself, the color. So we'll see how that works. But the instructions will be written for using the ombre fabrics, and then there'll be other, in the same pattern, we'll have instructions for just using, if you want to use all the same colors, you know, all of your rings out of the same colors. It'll give you a couple of different ways to go with this, but it'll all be in one pattern. But this one will be kitted. So based on 10 different ombre colorways. So a lot of these have the same colors in them. So it's kind of like this right here, this ombre goes down to lavender. This ombre goes down to the greens, chartreuse, whatever. So, but up here in the middle, they kind of look the same. I was hoping to avoid it, but in looking at all the ombres we used, there's going to be an overlap. So, but they will definitely stand out differently. So anyway, that's the hope. So this is one I'm really trying very hard to get done as soon as possible. Okay, so this ring goes, if I quit stepping on my cord, this ring is going to go up here. Let me set it up here and then I'll point the camera up there. That one's going to go that way. So now we got to make the other half with the light green on it. And then we'll put all these together. And remember, when you put it down like this, it's very important that you are able to read the printing on the foundation, because the star point has to go in the right. Let's see, we'll start stitching over here, and I will be basting this on. And when you're basting, you want to make sure you keep it all nice and, whoops, watch what you're doing, nice and flat so you don't distort your block. I tried the other day, I did on the regular double wedding ring. Yeah, the patterns, all of our patterns, we sell both ways. We sell with or fabric kit, but they all have the foundation. So if you want to do your own colors, it will tell you on the back, it will tell you how much fabric you need. For like the rings, it would tell you how many, if you were doing ombres, it would tell you how many strips or how much yardage of each one you need. And if you're doing just regular yardage, it will tell you, it'll have it broken down for you. That's why it takes me so long to get these patterns out. You guys get to see me here making my prototype, my first one. And then what I have to do is, after I make the first one, I write the pattern. I make all my notes as I'm going. And then I have to make another one so I can take photographs, step-by-step photographs, and get all the math figured out and all that stuff. So that's why it takes so long to, from the concept to the pattern, there's a lot that goes into it. The first one is mainly to make sure all my sizes are right and that everything fits the way I think it's supposed to. And that's when I get the idea of how much yardage I need. And sometimes I'll be moving right along, liking what I'm doing, and Bob will make a suggestion or Laura will make a suggestion, and I go back and I change it. Okay, and for those who are new, like here, my fabric shifted a little bit as I was sewing. That's a no-no in traditional piecing. But in foundation piecing, you get away with it. It's the line that gives you the accuracy. And as long as you've got 1/8 of an inch or more of fabric in your seam allowance, it's good. Now I'm going to stitch this down before I trim it. And for those that are new, the foundations stay in your quilt. You do not remove them. It saves a lot of time. It doesn't add any weight or bulk to your quilt, but it does stabilize it. It keeps everything in shape. So if you've got a lot of bias edges, it will prevent them from stretching. Because even when you're sewing along and you're trying very hard not to stretch your fabrics, and if they're not, even if they're not on the outside edge of your block, they will stretch. It's just the nature of woven fabric to do that. So the foundation keeps everything nice and straight, square, whatever the shape is supposed to be, it keeps it that shape. And you won't notice it in your quilt. Okay, so now I'm going to trim my 2 edges, straight edges. And take my scissors and trim on the curved edge. And if you trim right on that line, when you match it up to the moon or whatever that center, melon, that's what it's called. It's a melon piece. If you trim that piece on the line, when you match your 2 edges, your seam line should match just right. Okay, we'll throw the little stuff away and we're going to keep our big piece. Okay, so there we have that one. And it's going to go right here. Right there. So let's see. Let me take this one down. Oh, well, I know where that one goes. So now I want to clip those edges, or the inside curve. Just shy of that solid line. And then, remember these ends don't go all the way out to the edges of your block. They go just the end of the where the 2 solid lines come together. Whoops. Put a pin right there. And it goes on the seam line between the last piece and this piece. And if I hold it up to the light, I can see my 1/4 inch seam mark there. Pin it, then we're just going to work our way around, matching those edges. Every once in a while I get a pin. Does anybody else have that problem? Especially when you open a new thing of pins. No, I don't change the length of my stitches when I'm basting. I don't know why I call it a basting stitch, but there's no need. I mean, you can if you want, but sometimes I feel like the bigger stitches makes it bunch up a little bit. And the whole idea for running that line of stitching is to keep it accurate. So then I'm going to go to the other end before I get it all pinned. And then I'm going to come to this seam between this piece and this piece. There's a seam right there. So, because when you lay this down from this corner up here to this corner, that's your 9.5 inches. That should, the 2 outside edges and the 2 outside edges, if you set your 9.5 inch ruler on there, it will be the full size. So then we'll go back to just putting our edges together. Go back over here and start working my way towards the center. And you can fold this piece in half and find your center mark if you have to, and your center mark on the rings if you want to do that. But usually if you work from both ends into the middle, it'll come out right where it's supposed to. No, this pattern's not really hard. Everybody's afraid of the curved seams, but if you watch here, they're real easy to do. There's a lot of time, and when I am not on camera, my method for doing this would be to get all my rings made of all of these pieces, because for this, and I would get all of those made and make my stacks of the different colors. Like I said, I think I have 10 different colors. And then I would, and a many of these to make with color combination. We just say this is fabric A, lighten. How many of these, this piece, this melon piece to make with fabric A, light and dark, how many and dark, it will all out in a pattern. So that part of it will be much easier for you. But this one I'm just sort of, I have it laid, you can see I have it laid out with colors, but the actual doing, have that. We do have this block in it's a 3 full rings in 2 stars in a table runner. And that is on the website. It's called the Wedding Star. So it's not quite so overwhelming as a big quilt, at least if it's the first time you've made something like this. Hi. I don't think any of our patterns are real difficult. There's some I would not recommend to start with till you understand the procedure. But once you understand the process of doing this, I heard Laura say yesterday that the boss lady describes this as being just 3 simple steps. It's stitching, which we're doing right now, and then pressing. So you can go back to step 1 and stitch again. And I used to have a little poem to remember it by. And you never, when you trim, you never want to trim without using your add a quarter ruler. And ladies, if you think you don't need one, that a 1/4 inch mark on a regular ruler will work. All I can tell you is that most every class I teach, 1 or 2 students who don't want to spend the money for the add a quarter ruler. At least in the beginning, they don't want to. Then they see how simple it is to use and how easy it is and how accurate it is. And they always ask if they could buy one. So we sell the 6-inch ruler for $7.95 and the 12-inch ruler for $10.95. And it's really, really worth it. Okay, so this 1/4 block is done. And it's going to get set up here on the design wall. I need to turn it properly. like this. So now it looks like it's ready to sew to this quarter over here. And because my edge is going to be the radius, the rings are going to be the very edge of the quilt, I don't have to put a corner section on that one or on this one. So there'll only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points to the star on that one. So let's do that. Let's sew these two together so I can show you how to join them. Okay, so we want to match this point here. Oh, crooked pin. We want to match this point right here where this solid line and this solid line, where the stitching comes together. Make sure I'm right out there at the very, just like that. And then we're going to match it to the same point over here, right there, where that comes together. Put the pin through that, and I hold that straight across, and then I put a pin in here. And this, you don't want to rock it when you're matching points like that. You don't want to rock your pin, because what you're doing is you're moving this top fabric layer up, the underneath layer down, so then they aren't going to meet. It won't match. So you hold your pin perpendicular and then bring another pin in and pin it like that. And that applies to traditional piecing as well as this. Match those edges like that. And then I come down here and I make sure that my seam lines match. Put a pin in right here and it comes out perfect. There again, I hold that perpendicular and I put a pin in so that I'm not sliding the fabrics, the layers of fabric. Then I come down here to the point of the star and I'm going to put my pin in right here where the stitching crosses that solid line. And then I'm going to put it in the same place. Right there. And again, hold your pin perpendicular and put a pin back here so you don't rock that. Then I usually put another pin in here. Okay. And now we're going to stitch it. Just stitch on that line. And there's a pretty good thickness. Take that pin out. And you want to make sure that your needle goes right through that point. And then just stitch on out. And as you're coming off this, you've got this extra layer of fabric here. Throw it off. And so just go slow and control it. And you'll stay on the line. I haven't sewn I haven't put the needle through my finger, but I've got it caught under this part. And boy, that even hurts. And stitch up as close to your pin as you can. Lorraine, you've done some difficult patterns before. This one isn't any more difficult. Okay, our points meet good. This comes down nice, especially when oh, beautiful. Then I press my seams open because there's a lot of bulk here. And that way you spread the bulk out so it's not quite so thick. There we go. So there we have, and it's gonna go, now this is my problem, I have to figure out how it goes. It goes, so we can add it. Sorry you can't see that. I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. We'll just pin that there for now because we've got the rest of this one to do. We've got the arc and we have the other, we have part E made. Did I clip that? Yes, I did. Okay, so it's gonna go like that. So this has to go here because this is the end with our star. Okay, let's flip it over right sides together. Go to the end of the line there, and we want to put it in right here, match the seam line underneath. Pin that. And then, like I say, I usually do a couple of pins. And I know a lot of people don't like to pin, but sometimes you just have to. Trust me, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. I just feel like if I pin, I use my seam ripper a lot less often. Match that corner. And then we'll just start working our way around. Remember, you don't want to stretch anything. The little places where we clipped allow you to open it up a little bit to adjust for the curve. So I think I mentioned, oh, of course you couldn't hear me on Saturday. We are going to start doing shows again. I think our next show, we're taking a few months off. I've got so many new designs that I really need to get done, and the patterns written and fabric kits put together. So our next show is going to be Labor Day weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona. And then I believe we're doing the show in September in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Used to go spend time with our family. And then we're looking to see about doing a show in Nashville the first weekend of October. And then we will be doing Tucson in November. And our first trip to Puyallup, Washington will be in November. So looking forward to that. I'm going to have a little smaller booth. I have to do the shows either by myself or with Laura. And that means no help. I can set up by myself because we usually have a whole day for setup. But when you break the show down, you have like 4 hours to pack everything up. And when you're doing a show right away, again, I like to have it packed neat and organized. That takes time. They give you 4 hours to get out of the building. So it's really hard for me to do that by myself with a 40-foot booth. So I decided I love doing the shows. I love getting out and meeting people. If I'm by myself, I won't be able to teach. If Laura's going to be at the show, I will see if I can't get some classes scheduled. But we're going to be doing the shows again. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope we hit some of you so in an area where you can come and see us. And we'll be doing, I'll be doing something special at these shows for my viewers. Doing some kind of a sale or something. So if you can make it to the show, it makes it worth your while. We haven't done Tucson in a long time. We've always enjoyed that. So I'm looking forward to going. Cut those threads. And now we're going to press it. I do live stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 12 noon to 2 o'clock in Pacific time. And my daughter-in-law, Laura, does shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday from, she's on the East Coast, and she does shows 10 to noon Eastern time. Okay, oh my goodness, we're making progress here. This one goes up here. And of course, I don't know about the rest of you, but if you have a design wall, I tend to have everything sloping. When I get this sewn together, I will put it up much higher, and I'll make sure it's straight. So it drives me crazy. I stand back to take a picture. Straight. So, okay, so that part's done. Now I have to come down. I need to move my trash can. My helper came in and dumped my trash cans yesterday, and my only complaint is they don't get put back where they belong. But I don't complain because it's nice to have somebody do it for you. Okay, so I've got my colors set out here. So the other day, Saturday, maybe it was a good thing I didn't have any voice. I did it totally wrong. I did it backwards. So I decided I needed to lay things out a little bit ahead of time and know what I'm doing. So here I have my ombre pieces stacked 1 through 8. And the only thing I care about is I stacked them all with the lighter edge up on top. So I pull them off the same way so that I keep the ombre effect going. So we're going to start with fabric piece number 1. The lightest edge is down because this one's going from light to dark. So this is the wrong side facing up, and the darker edge of the piece is facing up. So it goes into space number 2. And I don't know if you can see that. It's so light. There, I have about 1/4 of an inch of fabric going past the line between space 1 and space 2. And I'm gonna just run instead of pinning it, I'm gonna come back and stitch this down anyway. I might as well just stitch it now. And I'm a little short there, but it is fine. Now we'll flip it over so the right side's facing up. Take my next piece off the stack. And remember, this edge up here is the lighter edge. That's the edge I want to meet the previous sewn piece. So we'll take it like this and flip it around so that edge is even with the edge of fabric piece number 1. And we'll turn it over and stitch on the line. And like I did mention the other day, you could do these chain piece. You see Laura, if you watch her at all, she chain pieces the like parts. And if you stack your pieces in order, like I have mine, you would just have, if you were going to do the 4 pieces of this color to make a solid ring, I would just have my 4 stacks here and just, take the top piece off 4 in a row and, just continue doing it like that. But it's it's, you got to know what you're doing. Whoops. I guess I need to trim first, huh? Step number 3, trim. Hello, Denise. I forget, you're in Oregon? Okay, lighter edge. Oh, Southern Oregon. Oops. Well, I thought if you were, that's right. We're going to Puyallup. So I'm trying to talk next year. Okay, so the lighter edge. See now, if I put the darker edge, there's a little bit more of a difference. I mean, this one, it's such a gradual change. And I think, I'll show you that one on the wall. I'm almost a quarter done with that one. Well, I don't have the sashing. You can see I'm missing sashing up there, but I'm up to the top corner. And I have a whole bunch more made that I need to, they're up at home. That's my home project. Anyway, I want to get that one. I got to sew the sashing in, and I like when I do the blocks on point, I do like to sew them kind of together in groups as I go. I don't know what the difference is, but some little quirk I have in my head. Oh, we're home right now. We're home, actually. This is the longest stretch of time at home that we've had in years. Well, no, I take that back. Bob was in a near fatal car collision last July, so our traveling has really been cut down, but we have a caretaker here who works on our ranch for us, and I don't feel bad if I leave Bob home now. This caretaker can look out for him and help do stuff for him, so I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So sometimes Bob will travel with me, but especially if we go cross country to see our kids and do shows. But I was a little sidetracked most of last year. Had to cancel 5 or 6 shows and all kinds of things. But we're getting back into it. So I am so fortunate. I absolutely love what I do, and I'm lucky because I took over the house, the old farmhouse my husband grew up in, and it's right across the driveway from our house. So I can get up and come to work whenever I want. I can come to work in my pajamas if I want. I don't know that I ever have, but I'll slip sweats on a lot of times at 3 o'clock in the morning and walk across the driveway. Bob will wake up and I'm not there. All he has to do is lift his head up a little bit, look out the window, and he'll see the lights on my studio, and he'll think, yep, she got another bright idea she couldn't wait to go work on. Right? Or I have a project going that I really, really, really want to get done. But I love what I do. I wake up every morning excited. It's not work. And I think how lucky I am that I get to do that. Well, thank you. I hope to keep coming out with more. I don't know where, oh, there we are. Okay, so all of those are on 1 through 8. Just a gradient blue. This is Gelato Ombre from Maywood Studios. So now we will trim this on the dotted line, broken line, whatever you want to call it. And this one, the seams are evenly spaced out, so you don't have to. The only thing I did was I stitched down the very end, the end where it was loose. The wedding ring that I was working on last week, I think I mentioned at the beginning of this, I have a table runner pattern available, or now, and I always get asked when I do table runner. I always get asked, "Do you have a bigger quilt? I like that block or pattern or whatever." So I did a layout on the computer for a large quilt, and I'm not positive what size it's going to be. Probably fit a double or a queen. And I'm really anxious to get it done because I played around with some colors and think I have a pretty neat thing going here. Okay. This one is up here. And put a pin there just so I know that is done. And then one is all my pieces fell on the floor. What a mess. And my cat's not even in here. Oh, and another piece of ombre. I had to lock my cat out. See these little feathers? I came in the other morning and she had brought me a little bird. All she left me was the feathers. And I came in 3 mornings in a row, she had left me little trophies. And I said, that's enough. One morning it was, gotta really be a country girl. Some animal, I don't know if it was gopher or exactly what it was. Maybe it was a big rat. I don't know. It had a long tail and she left I shouldn't even talk about it. Anyway, and then another morning she left me the head of a mouse, big mouse, field mouse. See, with all this tractor work we've been doing and tilling, the cats are loving those big, huge, grain-fed field mice, and they're huge. But I don't like walking in to them. And why is it cats think they have to show you their little trophies? I'm quite fine without seeing them. Country life. Although I have to say, 2 mornings ago, I was here very early, came down about 5, and I was cutting just at dawn. I was at the cutting table, and there's a big window behind the cutting table that looks out over a big old field. And there were, the first time I looked, there were two big, beautiful does. And then about 10 minutes later, I went back over to cut some more fabric. And there, standing right at the fence at the edge of our driveway, was a big old buck. His horns were still in velvet. And stupid me didn't have my camera ready. So I reached for my camera and I looked up. Well, he was just looking at me. He was looking at the window. And so I grabbed my camera and I looked up, and there was an even bigger buck about 10 feet away from him. Gorgeous. I got pictures, but they're not very good. So now, of course, every morning I'm looking out there. Come back, come back. Okay, and this piece is going to go on. Got to set it, offset it, so that when you sew it on and open it up, it'll cover way down here. I think if you were to do this pattern, I would definitely, I would like to do all of these pieces and have them done. And, then do all the arcs and get all the parts done and then start putting it together. And of course, with a pattern, it will all be spelled out for you, so you could do that. I think I'm getting close on this design to be able to do it so I can get it done and get the pattern written. I guess you don't really need to see my hand here. Okay, and before I trim this one up, I'm gonna stitch down in the seam allowance so I keep it nice and, nice and flat. And I just want to remind you, especially for new people, this is a leave-in foundation. And this is how sheer they are. And they're strong. You can fussy cut with them. They're awesome for fussy cutting. And in my classes, I'll have to pick a project and show you how you can fussy cut any piece. It doesn't have to be just the first piece. How you can fussy cut any piece in your block. It does not add any weight or bulk to your quilt. Oh, and if you get a chance and you haven't done it already, sign up for our chat room, the Easy Piecing chat room on Facebook. It's where we get together and share ideas, show our projects that we've done, encourage each other, share tips, tricks, all that good stuff. And also, I have not written a blog in quite a while. And I meant to do one last week, so maybe this week I will get on it. I'll talk with Laura and see, maybe we can come up with something special. So you want to watch all that stuff. And then we're going to trim this curved seam. You've been watching it all. You see, these curved seams are just really easy. The only thing is the pinning. And like I say, I tried it with the clips, but they're a little bulky, and you have to take them out quite a ways ahead of time, ahead of where you're stitching. And I'm sorry. And it wasn't enough more convenient than to pin. And remember, I saved that big hunk. So then before I even put this aside and I have my scissors in my hand, I'm just going to do the clips. And then it's ready. And I've got the other half to make. Take another background piece. Oh, this is going to be awesome because, see, I got to make sure I put it the right side facing up. This is part D. I just did part E. Sorry. I think I started to say, I did the other day, try doing this with the 505 spray glue, and it was nice. It was faster, but it comes out, it dissipates when you steam it. So by the time I had sewn it on to the arc, this edge was loose from the fabric, so I had to stitch it down anyway. But that's why I like the 505, because it does dissipate really easily, so it doesn't make your quilt stiff or anything. And I couldn't find it, and I was desperate. I was doing a bunch of hexes, and I was desperate. So I bought another brand, which shall remain nameless. I'm sure in some instances it would be exactly what you'd need, but it left my hexes a little too stiff for my liking. So I had to go on a search, and I finally found some. I should have just ordered it, but when I order it, I got to buy at least a case. When I get closer to showtime, I will order a couple cases, so I'll have it available in the booth. And now we will add piece number 2. and I haven't tried the walking foot yet. I may just do that this afternoon. And then, excuse me, clip the curved edge. I like working with these ombres too, because you don't get bored with working with the same color all the time. Oh, you know what? I forgot to stitch that down again. Shame on me, huh? Oh, the 505 is gone. Yeah, I noticed. I bought it. Where did I buy it? I think I found it at Hobby Lobby and was surprised at how expensive it was. I knew I was going to do that, which is why you want to do it before. I don't think I need to. Okay, so there's, oh, cut the threads. Yeah, I had never used a spray base for, thank you. I'd never used it for basting the layers of a quilt together. This is going to go up here. And where's my pins? And I did one not too long ago that I quilted on my baby lock. And did I just do this wrong? I think I did. I think I mixed up my D&E. Oh. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. I did it right. Yay. Yep. Dark on the left. Okay. We're good. Whew. I didn't want to unstitch that. And then we'll do this arc. Anyway, I used the 505 to spray baste for doing a table topper on the baby lock. And it really worked great. Didn't gunk up my needle or anything. So, and it didn't make it stiff or anything. So I really liked it. Okay, let's see here. Which way do these? That way. Okay. these blocks are the same blocks that we used in the Wedding Star table runner, but now I am making a big quilt. So you're watching me figure it out as I go. So but I wanted to show you how easy they are. If you want to do the table runner, these blocks are really easy to do. I also, I have fabric kits for the table runner using the Ombre. It's exactly what you see on the website. And hopefully I'm going to get this one done and written right away. It's like my main project. And it'll be out, I don't know, I don't want to give you a date, but I'm hoping very soon. So we're going to place, whoops, fabric piece number 1. Trying to aim this. So I'm doing an existing pattern, but I'm making it bigger. How's that? And then we're going to do, let's see, that's the lighter edge. Put right sides together. Edges even, going into space number 2. Flip it over. Make sure that's right. And stitch on the line. And I don't know, oh yeah, I think I have used this colorway in here already. I know I have notes written from when I laid this out. I just realized I had 9 different ombre fabrics. I was going to make 4 solid rings from each ombre. But then I have a lot of single ones around the outside edge. So I know I have notes on all that. So that will help me get this written a little faster. So has anybody been to a quilt show lately? Is there one I absolutely should do? I applied to at the, what is that, the Modern Quilt Guild. I was turned down. That of course, that was my fault. I didn't show them any of my modern quilts. So we'll wait and see about next year or the year after, whatever. I will be teaching up in Union City first Saturday of June. And what else do we have on the schedule? I'm not positive. Had a great time last week in Yucca Valley. I'm surprised sometimes when I go to these guilds and do a trunk show, lecture, whatever, and how active some of these smaller guilds are. It's awesome to see that. And everybody participates, which isn't always the case. This is odd colorway. It goes from yellow to, this is what, an orange, kind of a melon color, to orange, to a pink, and end up with a magenta. Very different, but very effective. So I'm trying to figure out, before I talk about that, when I was down in Yucca Valley, since I'd been there a few years before and had explained, when I usually go to a venue for the first time, I like to talk about how this product came to be, and like to add a little comedy to the whole thing. But since I'd been there before, I didn't want to give him the same old speech. And my week prior here, it had been all about scraps and how to organize your stash and what to do with your stash. And so I took a lot of my quilts that were made from my stash, from the way I keep my fabrics, and it's made with the strips and all, and that was mainly what I took, plus a few new things, but I didn't want to take anything I had taken before, so I was glad that we had gone over that, and I took, just to kind of show them how I manage and sort through the stash. I just grabbed out of the green bin, I just grabbed fabrics. I didn't know what I had or anything, and I grabbed a small bin with strips in it, and a small one with the squares in it, and a small one with just pieces that I just left the way they were. Like, we'll say in my neutral bin, I would just leave this like it is in the scrap bin. And when I say scraps, I mean little oddball pieces. They're great for fillers and stuff. Anyway, I did that with a bunch of greens, and so I showed them how I sorted them. And the next day in the workshop, I took what I had sorted, showed, in front of them, and I made think it was the block they were making, the Crazy Heart. Because I've talked it, well, when I made that on here. Oh, thank you. When I had made the Crazy Heart, I had mentioned one, I like a throw quilt and doing each heart in a different colorway. So I made this green one. It came out beautiful. I loved it. And I got to show them how they could use their scraps from it or to make it. So I got a double there. Let's see. I want the darker edge there. So I'm trying to think ahead of what we might do in the next few weeks. We will be doing jackets next week, and I will have, I'll bring a couple in to show you on Thursday, and maybe show you the progress, or, well, I won't be working on it till the following week, but anyway, we'll be doing that. But then I'm thinking, why don't we work on a Lone Star in a couple weeks after we do the jackets? East Coast shows. I'm pretty sure I'm doing Fredericksburg, Virginia in September. And I think for this year, that's, oh wait, I think we might be doing the Oaks, Pennsylvania for Mancusos in September as well. And I think that's the only ones on the East Coast for this year. We haven't booked anything for next year, but we would like to pick up a few new places. Okay, now we're going to trim this. You know, this quilt, it looks, I mean, I love the colors. I think they're gorgeous. But you're just making the arcs. There's the two outside pieces with a star point and the melon piece with a star point. It's the same pieces over and over, but I think it's the change in colors that make this one so fun. I'm sure it'll be beautiful done in a consistent colorway as well. If anybody has a suggestion of what they'd like to see me work on, let me know. I was wondering about the beginner sampler, because that's a little bit of everything. And I also have, that's one I would love to do with you guys, is the modern sampler. Okay, that's the other one to that. We got to make the melon, and we can put that whole quilt together. I mean, that whole block. So this is the melon. That's 4, 3. I gotta make sure I do this one right. The dark is number 2. Okay, I got these right. Those are in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to start with fabric piece number 1, put the wrong side facing up, put the foundation on top. Got to make sure I can read the printing. There it is. Put the foundation on top with about 1/4 of an inch of fabric going past the line. This is space 1, this is space 2. And I think I'll just make sure I got that set right, and I will run a basting stitch like that to hold it in place. Oh, cool. It will be sure, we'll let Laura will be there with me. We're going to have some fun. Leave the boys at home, and Laura and I are going to have some fun. Okay, we're taking fabric piece number 2, putting right sides together. Turn it over and stitch on the line right down the middle. Whoops, let's straighten this out. There we go. Right down the middle on the line. I think we'll finish this one up and call it a day. And then I'm going to work on it and share with you on Thursday how far I've gotten and let you know if the pattern's ready. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 is right here. So we're going to, this is where we're going to sew on piece number 3 on this line. Fold that back. Use our add 1/4 ruler. And then turn it over, and we want number 3 is gonna go like that, because remember you gotta push it down this way enough so it will, when you sew and flip it over, it'll cover all the way down to there. Turn it over and sew on the line. And number 4, that's where we're going to sew it on. So let's trim that other stuff back. Now for years I did not know they made a 12-inch add 1/4. So this is how I learned to do longer lines. And then I just use my thumb at the bottom and just push it up. And there we have our 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we'll take our last piece. And again, we got to make sure it's going to cover all the way up here. So want to go just like that. turn it over. And remember, you can pin it at any time if it makes it easier to get it to the bed of the sewing machine. And now we will press it. I think that's a pretty good point there. I'm satisfied. Okay, now I want to stitch this down. When you do this, you want to make sure you're keeping your foundation flat and not distorting it. Whoops, I think I just ran out of thread in the bobbin. Maybe that's a good place to stop for today. Threads. So, I will be back on Thursday. Laura will be on tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock Eastern time. If you get a chance, check out what she's working on. I'm not sure. And I'll be back here Thursday, show you my progress on this, and we're going to do the starlit rings. I have 2 patterns out using the starlit rings block, a table runner and a table topper. And I probably am going to, well, I'll be making the table topper. I will probably be making, actually, I'm sorry, I'll be doing the starlit rings, but I'll also be showing you the same block without the star in it. You probably watched Laura and I working on, it's a double wedding rail quilt, double wedding ring rail quilt. It is all put together. I am getting ready to get it quilted, so I'll try to get it hung up so you can see it, and we'll work on both because the main part of the block is the same in both. One has a star, one doesn't. We'll do both so you can see how they come out. Anyway, thanks for joining me today, and we will see you on Thursday. Hopefully it will be a fun one. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Have a great Wednesday. Hope you can catch Laura, and I will see you on Thursday. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.